Hello, it's August 19th, 4 p.m., and today I'm going to talk about peace begins within you. I know that a lot of the stuff on my channel talks about no one to change myself and how pretty much everything starts with you, but I have been contemplating this idea of peace a lot lately, and so this one is going to be a little spiritual, but also maybe practical for you to understand how this really works. Um, I'll start by saying that I'm going through a kind of confusing time in my life at the moment. Um, like, very, it's a very confusing time because I don't know what's gonna happen. And, it could be argued that all of life is like that we never know what's gonna happen. And we actually don't know what's gonna happen in the next moment. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. We don't know what's gonna happen 5 days from now, or, you get the gist. But we take those moments for granted. We don't really sit down and think that we're, you know, taking these moments for granted. We just kind of keep going um, until things happen to us, which are kind of, that uproot us from our lives, that then make us feel unstable. Um, but as somebody who has had a lot of experience dealing with a lot of moments in my life where I have been uprooted, um, be that from a situation that I was in 5 years ago, which involved me losing my apartment, my cats, and my not just my apartment, but like my dream apartment, my cats, um, you know, all of that overnight without an idea of where I was gonna go. And I think that was one of the first times that I realized in my adult life that life was very unpredictable and that things could happen at any given point in time and you had no control over it, you know? Um, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what Neville says, like Neville Goddard. Like, he talks about how imagination creates reality. Um, and how, like, when you are going through, like, when you want something, you should know exactly what you want, and then you like visualize it, and then you can get it. Like, you'll go through a bridge of incidents, and then you'll ultimately get what you want. I have applied this law flawlessly in my life, and I have always gotten what I wanted. But he says that the bridge for you to get from this point A to point B in the external world is not always going to look good or bad. Like, it can be either. You're never going to know that you're on a bridge, but you will always be on a bridge. Um, like, in my case, um, that whole circumstance led me to go to grad school and get my degree in UX design, which was always a big desire of mine. So if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gotten that. You know what I'm trying to say? So, coming back to the original topic, which is peace within, and peace starts within. Those type of situations have led me to become more calm. Not to say I don't have my moments, of course I do. Like, I feel, I cry, I have all sorts of emotions. But there's this stillness within me, this peace that can only be achieved after amounts of pain, in my opinion. Like, a lot of pain. Like, I've been through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've come out of it. I've come out the other side, and I've come to a place where I can finally say to you that no matter what happens in my life, okay, I will be at peace, because I have found the cause of peace, and the cause of peace is within myself. And I will tell you what to do. Suppose there are some things that you want more than anything in your life, you know? All of us have desires. All of us have certain things that we want in our life. And, you know, you do everything in your external world to achieve it, but nothing's working. Very familiar with that, by the way. The question I would ask you is, why do you want this thing? What feeling do you think you're going to get after you think you have this thing? Like, for example, when I imagine myself in this apartment, this very apartment, when I was manifesting this, I slept in the feeling of already playing that piano and feeling like I already lived here. And it was a feeling of peace. It was a feeling of having. It was a feeling of relief that all my efforts have paid off, you know. I probably did it twice, and also that I've explained in one of the videos, like, my entire bridge to get there and everything, and I'll put it in the link. I'll put the link in the description. But all of that to say, I started at the end. And when I'm telling you that peace begins within, the reason I'm telling you this is because I actually saw a video by Edward Art recently, which I think was one of his best videos, where he's talking about how he really admires the kind of people who believe in themselves even when things aren't working out for them. Because he thinks that that's exactly what Neville's Law is. That you think about yourself in a certain way, even though if the external world isn't believing that. Like, you believe you're beautiful even if people call you ugly, or you believe you're I don't know, like, secure or confident or valued, even though the external world doesn't, you know, show you that. And then these people, like, persist in these things. Like, they keep feeling it, like, actually feeling it. And then over time, it becomes a fact, you know? And it's the same thing with peace. I would say all of us ultimately just want peaceful lives. Like the baseline for, like, the reason we want money, the reason we want love, the reason why we want, I don't know, like, success or fame or health or beauty or all of these, you know, things that we want, is because we want these things to say something about us. But you can have those feelings without having those things right now. You don't have to have those things. I don't have to have I don't know, a relationship to feel loved right now. I can just feel loved within myself. I don't have to have a career to feel ambitious and respected right now. I can just feel respected, you know? I don't have to have money right now to feel like I'm taken care of. I can just feel taken care of. What I'm trying to get at is, when it comes to peace, like I said, the overarching feeling for me, I have realized, is feeling is a secret, yes, but for me, that secret feeling is peace. For you, it might be gratitude, relief, love, you know. I would say relief and peace and all of these feelings stem from love, of course, but for me, it's peace. And the reason I'm saying this is because I came to this conclusion yesterday. I was going to sleep and there was this voice in my head, and I'm sure all of us are very familiar with voices in our heads, and it just wouldn't stop. It just wouldn't stop, like, repeating shit in my head about a certain situation in my life that's been bothering me, and for a very long time, I might add. And it just kept going. Like it just kept going and going and going and ruminating and catastrophizing and blah 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 blah. And then the awareness, caught myself in that moment, and I asked myself out loud, like I had to audibly. Also, this is all going on within myself. Like I asked myself out loud, and I asked myself, what is it? What do you want? What's wrong? Kind of like talking to myself with grace, which is my previous video where I say, if you want to, you know, live in harmony with people, we don't need more healing, we need more grace, and we should start it with ourselves. Kind of like that, giving myself grace. Asked myself a question with grace. What do you want? What's wrong? And all I heard was a very tiny voice from within myself. I just want peace. I just want peace. And then I, again, the awareness, told that voice, then just feel it. What's stopping you? Nothing is stopping you from feeling peace right now. You don't need to feel like it's an honorable thing to feel guilty every single day. And these things are like earned, Like we've made it normal for us to feel guilty every day, or guilt or shame every day about things, while when the reality is that you can just feel those things without having to earn them right now. And that's what I told myself. I basically said, hey, like, you could just feel peace. And then I closed my eyes before I went to bed. And I do this every night. I do state akin to sleep, which is like the drowsy, sleepy state before sleep is when your subconscious mind is like the most open or whatever. In that state, I just kept repeating to myself, the situation has been resolved over and over and over again. And until I fell asleep, and just kept feeling it and feeling it and feeling it. And then I woke up this morning and I felt so much peace. And then things in my life started just flowing from there. Like, for example, this is very small, but my cat, every single morning for the past week or so, she's been so loud, and she's like the sweetest little cat ever, so I don't know why she's been so annoying. But she's been so loud, like it starts yelling at like 6:30 in the morning for food or whatever. But ultimately, if everyone is just me pushed out, then that also has to include animals. Like when I say everyone is me pushed out, they're all just reflecting my state back to me, So if I'd been in this tumultuous state this whole week, people, situations are going to reflect that back to me, because I'm only experiencing myself, ultimately. You are only experiencing yourself, ultimately. So after I did this last night and I woke up, even though I hadn't fed her, she was being so calm. Like, of course, yeah, she did, like, scream, like, here and there, but she was just being so quiet. And I didn't feed her for, kind of like a little bit later than I usually do, but she was just still being so calm. And that's when I realized that it truly all just begins with yourself. All of it just begins with yourself. If you take nothing away from this video but this following statement, it is no one to change but self. Self is key. And when I say self, I'm not talking about the external you, I'm talking about the you within yourself. The one you are always with, the one who is always with you. And that is the same as your imagination. So peace truly does begin with you. Love begins with you. Security begins with you. Commitment begins with you. Space begins with you. Freedom begins with you. Relief begins with you. But also, fear begins with you. Anxiety begins with you. Feeling unsafe begins with you. Dishonesty begins with you. What I'm trying to get you to see is that all the good and bad things truly begin with you. So if you have the power to create these lovely, amazing, beautiful things, then you also have the power to create these unlovely things. So don't get it twisted. Don't think that there's two like different powers out there. No, there's only one. There's only one. And that's your I amness, your consciousness, your imagination, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. But all of that is just you within yourself. So, yeah. I really like this talk. I really liked this talk. Anyway, I hope you guys take something away from this. And I hope you feel after whatever feeling it is that you want tonight or even right now, because you'll see that once you start feeling it, all things just flow, you know? Things just become so easy. So, yeah. Anyways, disco out.